We're chatting with singing Sandra, the Calypso monarch of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago for the year 2003. So let's go to the videotape.
I lay down in meditation. I took a journey spiritually. My eyes beheld a vision shone clearly in front of me. Well, in the vision I saw an old man slowly beating a drum, humming a melody that was strange to me. Then he called me and said, Sandra, come. He arose and he showed me a country, beautiful everywhere, a land of endless bounty and the riches beyond compare. There was enough for everybody, for all their material needs. But alas, when the old man showed me my people, they were all overpowered with greed. And the old man beat his drum. The old man beat his drum. He said, take this melody, girl, go to your country, warn them of the wrath to come and if you hear him, bye-bye. Revelation time. This is revelation. This is revelation. I want them of the wrath. You're gonna get on them of the road to come. Leaders were fighting each other. They were tearing the people apart. Friends who used to live happy together, now hatred filling their hearts. Neighbors were cursing neighbors, whole villages in mayhem. I heard they were listening deceitful leaders who were preaching for doctrine to them. Look, compassion went out of the window. Deviousness reigned instead. Morality was low, 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 but the people were spiritually dead. But the old man beat his drum. The old man beat his drum. He said, take this melody, girl, go to your country, warn them of the wrath. And if you hear, warn them of the wrath. I'm gonna get revelation. Revelation. You know what he tell me? He said, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills, and everywhere. Oh, tell it on the mountain. The old man beat his drum. Were all in a quandary, no sense of direction. They lost all hope cause they just can't cope. They're already yet, but they're gone. They have no respect for their elders, no respect for themselves also. Their spirits were all in tatters and reading an all-time low. Then I hear them cussing the system, they're cussing the leaders too. But they were raping, stealing, shooting and looting, but they all had nothing else to do. The old man beat his drum. The old man beat his drum. He said, take this melody, girl, go to your country, warn them on the road to come on and warn them on the road to come. You're gonna get revelation time. This is revelation. This is revelation. Warn them on the road to come. scammers. Tell them get on their knees and pray. So get rid of all these commas that driving good spirits away. Then you tell me, talk to your fellow Calypsonians. Tell them stop the shame and disgrace. Encouraging people to get on bad, jump up and mash up the place. But behold, I saw the sunrise coming over the mountain range. The old man said that is a symbol of hope if your people get serious and change. But the old man beat the drum. The old man beat the drum. He said, take this melody, girl, go to your country, warn them on the road.
I know you guys feel that. I hope your paws raised. Some of you can't handle.
Good evening to you. Good evening to you. And welcome to this evening's edition of Politics 101. Coming in there with singing Sandra Devines, the late Sandra Devines, one of the greats of the Calypso art form. The old man beat the drum. And we are in that season, that period of the drum beating, emancipation. We are, of course, observing emancipation in Guyana and the English-speaking Caribbean. Lots of activities organized across the country. It has been, 186 years since our foreparents finally walked through the gates of the plantation. We are still suffering the scars of bondage. We are still suffering from some of the side effects, the after effects of enslavement. But we are here to tell the story. That is what is important. We survived slavery and we survived the after slavery. And we are here to tell the story. Please share the link. Let everyone know that we are on tonight, Politics 101. Sister Dawn Cush. Dawn Cush is going to be here, attorney at law and social and political commentator. She's going to be here tonight, and we are going to be talking about a lot of the issues that we are faced with. Last night, we had Vincent Alexander on and some bombshell information. I just got back from, you all know what, a funeral. We just laid to rest in Buxton. Our fourth death for the week. Lord. And people were just telling me that the rigging is already started. So people were tuned in last night when Vincent made those revelations. But they're urging us to fight, because we're not going to be able to win anything unless we fight. Really, people are saying, oh, a man of the cloth, a priest told me this week, he said, with all the revelations, all the corruption revelations, all the revelations, it is an election for the opposition to lose. And I told him, coming from a man of God, I'll take that any day. I'll take that any day. Good evening to you and welcome to Politics 101. Like to thank all of you, all you Buxtonians who told me you are going home from funeral to go and watch Politics 101 and tell me it's nice to bring on women. And so I say hello to you Buxtonians and I tell you old strain. You know, all your ladies who say, well, it's what? All them other party naming leader. When you party naming, you the leader. And they say, it's what? Well, it's what? It's what really what? What? You promoting other people. What is what? What happened to we Buxtonians? Thanks very much for the confidence. But you know, things take time. We are wronged, and we are wronged. Thanks for the confidence. Thanks so much for the confidence. It means a lot to our people. It means a lot to our people to see their people their sons and daughters, whether we are lawyers, whether we're academics, whether we are nurses, teachers, they like to see us talk up for them, as they told me this evening in this afternoon in Buxton. You know, we like to see we people who we watch grow up, we watch run around, and they're there talking of us. So good evening to all you wonderful Buxtonians, all you wonderful Buxtonians. I'm forever grateful to you all. I would not, could not, cannot be what I am, where I am without what you have given me in that village. And I cannot ever repay all of you who would have crossed me across the road when I was a little boy going to school, you know, all of you told me that I'm a good boy, or you're a bright boy, or whatever, you know. It was nice to catch up with some classmates today who were sitting on in bench with and to reminisce of those days way back. There is nothing greater than ordinary working people who wake up every day and try to make a better life for themselves and for their children. How they do it, we can never quantify it, but they do it. And I am so grateful for them. I see people on this live every night, every day. I never knew they were interested in politics. And you meet them and you say, yes, well, it's not you all always got us in the politics thing, you know. Very glad to know that one does not move far away from the roots. It's emancipation time, and as you know, we've been doing our fund drive, our emancipation fund, and we are trying to contribute to emancipation activities in Buxton, Den Amstel, Belladrum. And I'm getting a couple of requests from other communities, and we'll see as the donations come in. I want to thank all of you who have donated to the fund, and hopefully we'll have enough to share around to the communities. The PPP is trying to derail the activities this year, but they're not going to succeed. They are not going to succeed. We will not let them succeed. So please share the link, share the live, and let everyone know we're on a Friday night. Our regular guest is usually Dr. Vincent Adams. He's been traveling, having some good time, you know. Political people do have good time sometimes. So tonight, we're going to have Dawn Holder Cush. And the old timers would remember Dawn's father, Terry Holder, who was an institution in our country in many regards. You know, we were always all-rounders. And we have to be, you know, we have to think on our feet. We have to think of survival. And while we're surviving, we are thinking about freedom. Always thinking at several levels at the same time. And so, you know, when you see our people and you hear them, you know, they are business people, but they're very versed in cricket, for example. You know, they're scientists, but very versed in poetry, you know, and politics, because we always have to think. We always have to think about several things at the same time. Simultaneously, they make the word for we. So good evening to all of you. Wonderful people in Berbice. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's Emancipation West Berbice. I know you all are raring to go there. The big soiree. 2 soirees we have on the 31st. The soiree in Hope Town, and then in Buxton we have our Black is Beautiful concert headlining Yoruba singers, Buxton Fusion, drummers, Buxton Pride Steel Band, and a host of other artists who are going to be there. So please put time aside so that we can observe our thing. Let me bring in our guests and start the interview. Good evening, Don.
Good evening, Chief Uhuru.
Chief Uhuru. You don't forget that
Not
at all.
at all. Not
Hey,
at all.
yeah.
One must respect a man's titles,
There you go. There
particularly
you
when, particularly when given by their African ancestors and their ancestors.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. How
But you
how
know,
how have you been keeping?
my God, I mean, it's so much to absorb that is happening. It is amazing. As you said, the man of the clergy said, the election is won for the opposition to lose. Right? I've never seen anything like this happening in the last 2 months. Everything that could possibly have gone wrong with this government has gone wrong, and it didn't stop. It continues every day. Is another revelation. You
Another
know,
revelation. Yes.
if you go on Melly Mel's page, right, they have all these reports from persons who allegedly are policemen, and she reached policeman number 50
Wow.
with,
Wow.
with, with his issues. You know, but I heard you talking about emancipation and so on. And I always remember these words, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. But none but ourselves can free our minds. Right? And that is one of the things we have to teach our children and their children and the people in the community. Right? We have to be free from these things, and we must be able to be equal. Nobody can hold us down anymore. I am not a slave, you're not a slave. You talk about my father. My father instilled so much values in terms of black pride, and I always had African outfits when he traveled and so on. In those days, I was going to St. Margaret, which is a private school, and anytime I was dressed up, I was always this girl with the African clothes, right? And as you may know, my father was very, very close, the former WPA leader, Dr. Walter Rodney. They were in the same class at QC. I know Walter's Uncle Walter, because he would visit our home frequently. And when you're a young girl, you meet somebody like that. And this man was so soft spoken. But little things he would say, you're a pretty little black girl, you're a pretty little black girl. And nobody could change that. As you said, the people say, you're a bright boy, right? Where you're growing up in Buxton. But I would never forget Walter Rodney saying that to me. You're a little pretty black girl. Well, I don't know, but I ain't had
Yeah.
bad luck. I
Yeah.
ain't had bad luck. So something about it had to have a little bit of truth in it.
Right.
But yeah, and I'm saying all these things are like affirmations, right? I have a grandson, and this Snoop Dogg, who was, once on this rapper, but has really transformed his image to the extent that he was at the Olympics Games today in Paris, and he was he played some role. And he has a tune which is called Affirmations, right? You're just hearing his voice, and it's being done by some animal characters and so on. And it's positive affirmations. And particularly the Black woman in Guyana needs to start telling herself some of these affirmations. I am worthy of myself. I am worthy of being loved. I don't need a man. I don't need a man. If I have a man, he has to be a good man. And things like that. And once you instill those things and you start hearing those things from a young age, it must impact you. It must impact you. Other affirmations, I must do an honest day work for an honest day pay. I must not be corrupt. I must not steal people's things. And those things go back to things in the Bible, the 10 Commandments. But everybody seems to have forgotten those things. Well, not everybody at all. But some people who one would expect would not go that route, whose duty it is to protect and serve, have shown us blatantly that only persons they're looking after is themselves. Right? You know, I like to look at stories, right? Look at facts. On the 11th of January of this year, Gail Teixeira, the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, has refuted claims of widespread corruption within the Guyana government. She emphasized that existing anti-corruption framework in the country is effective and challenged the opposition to substantiate the corruption allegations with evidence. Well, we have the evidence here right now. The evidence about some senior police officers is right there. Not only the evidence against them, but we saw a list of promotions or led promotions in the Guyana Police Force. Right? And it was clear to see what is going on. The Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben, has just had gazetted the fact that we now have 6 deputy commissioners. For what? For what? To watch each other? Why do you want 6 deputy commissioners? You can't even manage those that you have. You can't manage those that you have. You want everybody to come up now. Who got bodyguard the bodyguard?
Mm-hmm.
Who is going to bodyguard you with 6 deputy commissioners? My goodness. Never before in the history of this country. I don't know, and I heard no justification for it. If you want to give people more money, you can give people more money. You don't have to necessarily promote them in rank. Because when you reach the rank of deputy commissioner, you ought to have certain criteria. You ought to be of the ilk of people like Henry Chester. Those old timers who are not so old, who are still around. Those men who served this country with distinction, Paul Soda served this country with distinction. Not any bad rackets behind them. You had Mr. Gentle, Skip Roberts, all these people, Alvin Smith, my former neighbor. You know what the policeman call him? Wrong man. Wrong man. He's too honest. You can't get no runnings when you're wrong. Wrong man. Right? And when you look at some of these stories that are coming out, and you try to pick out the truth from the untruth from the truth, what you end up with is a sordid tale of inherent corruption in the Guyana Police Force. And it is not something that they're unaware of, they are aware of it. And for the longest while, they managed to cover it up. A policeman buys a building, which was called Frenzy Bar, and demolished a structure. A policeman who's a lawyer, and I'll call his name is Calvin. I don't think anything I've said is in dispute. Allegedly, millions of dollars were found in a drawer at Eve Leary. Allegedly, large sums of money, millions of dollars, were found in a bank account. Allegedly, he said getting married. Allegedly, he tried to put the money through the credit union. And there was a problem with that. And today, God knows how, but it shows how people are prepared to expose these people. Mary Mel was able to access a meeting of the credit union. It is on her page, Melissa Atwell. People can go to her page and read it for themselves. It is shameful. It is shocking. And she ends by making a point that she was there by saying the lady's flower dress she found distracting. So if indeed somebody had on a flower dress at that meeting, it's problems today. It is shocking. And all of this concerns this Mr. Brutus.
Dawn, I mean, individuals are being fingered and so on. But the problem, you would agree, is much more deep-seated than a few individuals. And you talk about old-time policemen who acted with a certain kind of dignity and brought respect to the force. What has gone wrong? Why in the last 20, 25, 30 years, the police force has descended into the kind of institution that the boss now, the Home Affairs Minister, is saying that the police is corrupt? I mean, what, explain to us, what has happened in the police force?
I think it started with a simple culture of take a bribe, right? When they had this joke in Ghana, of a traffic rank stops you, you will say right or left, right? Mean I could write you up, we go to the station, or I could left something with me, right? I came in from Trinidad the other night. We had to pass through 3 roadblocks. David, I could tell you one of those roadblocks was no authorized roadblock. You can't see no number, nothing. When I asked the policeman, I pushed my head through the window. I said, sir, what is your name? He said, you know me? I said, I know I won't have to ask you your name. What is your name? He mumbled something. He said, oh, you could go down. And I was with a former member of the judiciary. But they don't care. We just left one roadblock. People say, pass on. And within 5 minutes, these sat there, you could, from the time they saw it, something is wrong. There was a man arguing with them. Then when you go to the back of Mandela, there was another one there with somebody was wearing khaki, and that one was safe. You just look at the pass through. But the second one was the one that made me very uncomfortable. They appear to be on some sort of run-ins. When a policeman, you cannot see his name on a name tag, and particularly in the night, you stopping people. You ain't saying you're looking for anything. We just pass a roadblock, my brother. We got to tell you, so we just pass a roadblock. And you stop us again? What's this about? You're looking for somebody. What you looking for? He ain't answering. He's not answering. You know, those things, but I'm saying this whole culture is of officer, take a bribe. Right? As one said, they were saying police sending barbecue tickets. I have to stop. You got to buy 2 barbecue tickets for some barbecue that they got. And this has gone on for years and years and years and years and years. Right? You sit as a magistrate and you have cases and some policemen don't show up. Right? Goes on and on and on. Sometimes you issue a warrant for the arrest, they still don't show up. Eventually dismiss the case. Afterwards, what do you think you're going to say? You hear? Money pass. Madam, money pass. I think they're coming to give the evidence. And I talk about I left Ghana in 2002, prior to that. And the culture has gotten worse. And I can't justify it by saying the police are not properly paid, because the teachers and the nurses are not properly paid, but they don't have jobs where they could shake down people like that. A nurse doctor can't tell you, oh, I will not give you an injection unless you give me some money. No. But the police are in a particular position because they're there to protect and serve. They're the ones as bad as it. I mean, I never forget Mr. Rommel, when he was commissioner, told me something, and it's very true. He said everybody is hurt the police until something happened, and they say, oh God, call the police. And that is true, because you still have to call them if something happens. You still have to call them. But if it's a matter that has to go to court, you have to pray to God that you will get your story told. And the police will come to court and give the evidence they're supposed to give. And they will follow all the things that they're supposed to follow. And not develop cases that are inherently weak, and the magistrate has no choice but to dismiss the case. And then the people feel very, very violated a second time. A second time. So this has been going on for too long.
Yeah. Is there a relationship between the political directorate? Paul Slow was on this program earlier this week, and he said that incidences of corruption had decreased during the coalition period, and then they went back when the PPP came back to office in 2020. Do you agree that there is some relationship between the political directorate led by the PPP and the incidents of corruption, where the PPP, in order to get the loyalty of the top brass in the police force to serve as a political tool for them, they are prepared to turn a blind eye to corruption? Some people would say to encourage corruption in the police force. Do you agree with that thesis?
Of course I agree with that. I mean, because certain people were sent for when this government came into office. Certain people were sent for, right? We have a commissioner of police whose tenure was up and it was extended. But you have other competent officers who were there. You have Mr. Cooper who's died, and you have the officer called I think he's an assistant superintendent, assistant commissioner Mark Bean, right? The brightest of them. I have never heard anything adverse about him, but you don't hear about him at all. His name comes up because they will probably jiggle him up to one of the 6 deputy commissioners. But who the other 5 gonna be? Who the other 5 will be? All of them have stories. All of them have stories, David. All of them, and it is so sad. It is so sad.
Dan, when the acting commissioner came out and said that there was no transaction at the police, the police, what you call it, where the money was lodged allegedly, the police credit union, and the acting commissioner come out and said, well, no money was deposited there, and then later on in the day, the press was able to publish the document showing that indeed this transaction occurred. What do you make of the commissioner coming out and saying nothing happened, and then a couple of hours later, he's proved to be lying? What do you make of that?
You see, I think he probably figures that everybody will just sit down and not say anything, right? But now everything has changed. Everything has changed, right? I mean, Melly Belting is right here, and I could only say this is allegedly because I haven't heard it, but she has what she's saying. She learned by being present at a meeting, and it's very, very, very blaring. You know, she said, well, this morning I run in Melly Mel page, and Melly Mel got Mr. Brutus information from the beginning to the ending, and it had to be done by somebody in this organization before the 11th of July this year. You know why? Because I have the ledger, and I signed it on the 11th of July. Here comes Mr. King. They screenshot all of Mr. Brutus' passbook with all the information. So there's people who have access to all information, and it's a police, not a civilian. Ms. Donna, Azor, bring the ledger. You see, I signed this thing on the 11th of July. I'm taking possession of all these keys. When y'all imagine and beaten, y'all ain't gonna make I lose me accounting qualification. Not me a serious. That's a eat little bit of food. Forget where I get in this organization. I need possession of the keys now. Y'all getting on my last nerve. Right? So I mean, this is happening at a meeting, right? So there's all sorts of issues coming out of that.
Do you have any confidence, Dawn, in the police investigating this issue with Mr. Brutus?
The police can't investigate anything for themselves.
Okay,
not at all. Not at this time. Not this set of police. They cannot investigate themselves. They cannot, because everybody has a secret or somebody, right? And all of that was revealed in everything, right? Everybody got a secret for somebody. So who's gonna investigate the police?
So
long way have special branch officers and so on. I don't know who they are now. I don't know who they are now.
What
right? But I mean, this sort of things that happen and so on, it makes people very uncomfortable. Because if you got money, you got no problem. all your problems could go away. And it is really, really sad.
What would you
Really
recommend? What source would you recommend? Nigel Hughes talk about bringing in some institution from the Caribbean. Paul Stowe says, how about the FBI or Scotland Yard? What would you recommend?
I would agree with bringing in FBI or Scotland Yard. Right? I would agree with that. Bringing in Scotland Yard or FBI. Right? Because you want people coming who have the experience, right? Who are not in any way linked to these people. As a linked, like well, we are Caribbean brothers kind of thing. Right? You want people to come in and all they're looking at is the facts. And if at the end of the day, the facts are not facts as we thought, well, the process will be clear. But if on the other hand, it reveals corruption and a serious level of corruption in some of the highest levels of the Guyana police force, then will the government act on a report like that?
Will the government act on a report like that?
Will the government act on a report like that?
And of course, Dawn, police corruption is not the only form of corruption. We've been hearing now, and the government has admitted that at the level of procurement, at the level of contracts and so on, the massive corruption, although they're saying it's not massive, but they do admit that there is corruption there. Comment on that. I mean, what's happening there with the procurement and all these contracts and the corruption that is coming there? And then we have gold smuggling. The United States government a few weeks ago, fingered some business people, but very importantly, a permanent secretary.
Not only a permanent secretary, a permanent secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Ministry of Home Affairs, which is the ministry that has responsibility for the Guyana Police Force. Right? So you cannot have, and I keep saying this whole thing, you see, the British got the Westminster style model. Right, we have ministerial responsibility. Where in these circumstances, Minister Robson would resign and go on his way. Right? He had, and it's unfortunate, but that's how ministerial responsibility works. Right? You had the fires, Mario, the prison, you got May Thomas, you got the Guyana Police Force issues, where he has actually said that there's corruption in the Guyana Police Force. But he just wake up this morning and find that out? No, man. He can't wake up this morning and find that out. Unless he don't have his own people who could feed him correct information.
Or is he trying to shield his own government and trying to put the blame on police officers at the lower level?
No, but how could he do that? Well, the evidence doesn't point to the police officers at the lower levels. Take a bribe 5,000 and thing or so. Somebody buy a building and breaking it down. So it has to be a totally different story. You know, and I'm saying it's just how people are different. I remember Minister Rashid Jackson, the foreign minister. His son was caught in the United States in a vehicle that had a marijuana inside. And he resigned as a minister.
Yeah.
Because he said he did not want to embarrass the Guyana government. Nowadays, here you have ministers here who are in charge of the prison and the police, both plagued with major issues. And the minister is saying the police are corrupt. And he has failed as the minister, right? Because this is nothing new. He can say what he wants. He's working with a permanent secretary who's linked to Mohammed's, right? She's linked to the Mohammeds. There are photographs of her, right? And I happen to know of a matter in which a young man had wrote a post on Facebook that this permanent secretary was interfering with his relationship with his girlfriend, and that she'd taken the girl to somewhere where the Mohammeds were to try to sort out a matter between I think it was Asudin and his wife or something like that. But she went on government time to do this. and he was charged with cybercrime bullying of the PS. The magistrate dismissed the case and they appealed it. They appealed it. But let us see what they're going to do now. If they're going to really proceed with the appeal in the light of all these allegations against her. And I'm saying, how could a permanent secretary be involved in this level of corruption and nobody in the ministry can't tell the minister what is happening? Your duty is to the minister. If you're working in the ministry, well, first of all, her duty should be to the minister.
Yes.
But her duty is to the dollars. Her duty is to and look, she's paid a price. She's paid a price. She's been publicly shamed.
Dawn, is it possible for a permanent secretary in a government in Guyana to be acting on her own, to be acting without some kind of direction from people higher up than her?
But I don't know how to answer that because I don't. In this specific case, I'm not sure what was going on. Yeah. The FBI have been very kind of cagey with what information they've revealed. Right. They say she was in some arrangement with the Mohammeds and so on, and that's the level of her involvement. But of course, we don't know what else will happen. We have a lot of rumors circulating, but we can't rely on it. We have to wait and see.
But from your experience of dealing with the Americans and the FBI and so on, when they are not forthcoming with information, is it not that they do have information, but they may be involved? Yes.
It might mean a big lash coming.
And
I would really like to see some of the senior members of this government board a flight to JFK.
Well, we had a situation the other day where Minister Barrett was said to have been escorted by agents at the airport. He denied it, but there was a picture, a photograph with.
That's correct.
Yeah.
A man walking very, very close to him.
Yes.
But then the US came out and said he was not detained for questioning.
Right.
But before they said that, his attorney at law said he could not have been questioned because he had a Ghana passport. Mm-hmm. So I suspect he may have, if they attempted to question him, he may have raised that. That's my own suspicion. But that is what may have transpired. Right? So because of the diplomatic passport, right? And the thing about it with these things, he was not on a government basis. So the allegation or the rumor is that he was going to buy some yacht and some Range Rover. I don't know where these things has come from. I mean, Guyanese ministers buying yacht now. Oh Lord, we be sounding like Prince Albert of Monaco, man.
Yeah.
You know, so chief, you got to have a yacht and moor your yacht in Buxton, man.
Yeah. Dawn Holder Cush here tonight, attorney at law, talking about corruption in the police force, corruption in procurement, corruption in a whole lot of areas here in Guyana. Corruption. Those of you who have not yet contributed to our Emancipation Fund, please do that. The Cash App information is on the screen, the Zelle information, and the MMG information. They're all on the screen. PayPal. As we said, we are raising resources to aid the emancipation activities in some of our communities. And remember, support the genuine activities. Support the activity at the national park, because we know that the story that they're doing at Multinose is meant to derail the activity. We understand that they're trying to do the same in West Bobis. We understand they're trying to do the same in Denhamstel. And what they're doing is putting on these so-called free events. It's insulting because they're saying you can always trick Black people with sport. You know, it's the highest form of racism when you are playing on these stereotypes of people. So we're urging you all, to go and to support the genuine activities that are being held in your communities. Don, what do you make of this holding of this story at Maltino's, trying to derail the ACT activity? Is it as they have they not gone too far?
Well, I must say that I am disappointed in Maltino's, a club which I was once a member.
Hmm.
For being a part of anything like that. Martinos is historically a club where persons of African descent played cricket, etc. Um, it's not the Georgetown Cricket Club, it's not Cosmos, it's not any of those clubs. This is Maltino's, a club with a very rich tradition,
Yeah.
very, very rich tradition. But I mean, it is very unfortunate, and these are things that happen all the time. Somebody gonna talk to somebody and they're gonna agree and they can maybe this is what you will get paid, you do this and all that. But I don't see our activity at Malt, it's got derail actors activity. I really don't see that.
Okay.
I mean, actors activity is the one where you go, you see all the children dressed so nicely. I mean, every time I go, I take out tons of photographs. And there's this man who's always there with this stick or this hat and very regal and so on. And everybody's very proud to be African. I mean, I'm seeing the clothes selling every day, and I have to ensure that my grandson and I, when we go there, we be fashionable. I'm not going to anything anywhere else other than what actors have. And I heard you talk about activities in Buxton and the soiree, which I've never been to a soiree, and I think this year I should make an effort to go. But you see, you come from a village, Buxton. My father come from a village, Skeldon. I'm a Georgetown girl. As long as I feel kind of left out, like when you're born in Georgetown, you ain't got nothing. You're just a town girl, you know. I have a lot of friends from Buxton, the Moses, the Bryans, and so on. A lot of friends. I mean, these are people who are proud Buxtonians. Don't talk people from Hopetown and Belladrum and so on. They're proud. I'm a Georgia. What I can say, I lived in Border. Oh, no, that don't cut it.
Right.
But
Right.
unfortunately, I mean, my father talked about his days in Skeldon, going to the Skeldon Line Park School and so on. I don't have any experiences like that. And it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because
emancipation.
everybody just migrated to Georgia after a while, right?
Right.
And that's what happened. Everybody migrated and come to town, and it just went on like that. You start a whole new life, and in terms of the connections with the villages, for some people, it's not a big deal. So I always salute the Buxtonians and people from Hopetown and Belladrum and so on. Right? Those people have stayed true and loyal to where they come from.
True.
And that is very admirable. Right? You can't stop my friend Dawn Braffett. When it comes to swearing, she going. She's not gonna miss that. You see, she and her mother's now there, but she going.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I've
on
never.
yeah, on the
But
night of
I
the
think I
31st,
want to go.
yes, on the night of the 31st in Buxton, we're having the Black is Beautiful concert. Some people call it a soiree. The Yoruba singers would be headlining the Buxton Fusion Drummers, the Buxton Pride Steel Band will be there, and we have a lot of other artists. Circle of Love. I think Mr. Batson is going to be there. Local dancers, storytellers. Mark Chester, the Nancy Storyman, he is going to be there. And the whole set of activities starting at 8 o'clock, going right into the morning. So on your
You
way,
will be there?
huh?
You will be there?
Yes, I'll be there. We have
Okay.
three guest speakers, Aubrey Norton, Nigel Hughes, and I would be speaking, bringing greetings. So
But that's
it's
interesting. I'm glad you said that because I heard you at the beginning of the program. Say the people asking you what happened to you. Where is the WPL leader? So now
yes,
you're calling the names of the other two major parties, their leaders. So I guess it follows that David Hines is the leader of the WPA.
Yes.
So I don't say David Hines.
Yes, the ladies, the mainly women in Buxton give me hell today, man. And they say, well, it's what?
You're
Well, it's
right.
what?
You're right. You're right. Right.
Yeah, that's why
So
you're talking about Norton and you. What about you? What about you? And I tell them all straight, all straight, all straight. But Norton, Nigel Hughes, and myself, we will be the
that's very
speakers
good.
on Wednesday night at the Buxton Soiree. Usually, some people stop there on the way to Hopetown. Some people go to Hopetown and then stop in Buxton.
Oh, the same day with the Hope Song thing. And what time your thing starts?
It starts at 8 o'clock. It starts at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Right. So people usually time their stuff. So please, on the 31st, come on down to Buxton.
I will be there. I will be there.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I will be there.
Wonderful.
I don't have any friends in Buxton any longer. They're all migrated.
Yeah, all the Moses migrate and the Brian migrate, but the Brian's mother, they're still there. I suppose you would have gone to school at Bishop with Andrea.
I went to QC with Shelley Bryan.
Oh, Shelley. You went with Shelley.
Brother, I can't remember the brother's name.
Kevin.
Shelley brother went to Queen's College.
Kevin,
yes.
That's
him.
Right,
yeah.
Right. And then, of course, Moses is Brian
right.
Moses.
But one of the, I actually know Colleen Moses, and then I know Victor Moses through the Queen's College old students.
Oh,
okay. But those are very, very proud Buxtons. And I have a friend who died, Shalto Fox.
Shalto, yes. Fox. All them company
proud. His mother died in the States. He had to bring home the ashes. She had to be buried in the Buxton Anglican Church in the graveyard there. You know, she made it clear. No. I got to be buried in Buxton.
Yes.
So you can have those strong ties and so on. But David, there's too many things happening. You know, I just came across something about the speaker had banned the use of the word corruption. You could believe that?
Mm-hmm. What?
The Speaker of Ghana's National Assembly, Manzin, during Friday afternoon, confirmed that the word corruption could no longer be used during debates in the 65-seat legislature. This is 27th of January 2023. His confirmation came in an inquiry from opposition leader Aubrey Norton after Shadow Finance Minister Valda Lawrence used corruption and was immediately asked to withdraw it, she obliged. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
You can't use the word corruption. We want us to break it down and say the thieving.
Imagine that.
Corruption is a nice word. It sounds better than to say thieving.
Yeah. But it goes to show the extent to which these people are going to stifle freedom of speech in the National Assembly.
Exactly.
Cannot use the word corruption.
Where they have to be accountable to the Parliament and to the people. It's not about using fancy language. If you have to use the word, so if something comes up now and a question is put to the Minister of Home Affairs, what is the Speaker going to say? What word are they going to use to ask? What is the issue involving the police now?
Mm-hmm.
That is of national importance and of national security. Because if we talk about corruption in the police force, our national security is at risk. Our national security is at risk.
Yeah. Dawn,
right, but we don't see
here tonight. Dawn, you an issue that you are very much concerned about is the ever-present, overpowering presence and in many regards the disrespect for this nation by the Vice President of Guyana. Talk to us about that.
Well, it continues. I mean, up to yesterday, and I mentioned this in Nigeria. Nigeria made a Facebook post about the revenue Ghana gets per hour per day, right? And how much withdrawals were made from the NRF. No explanation is given. And I said, tomorrow the Vice President is going to deal with it. And he described Nigeria as what? Some ridiculous nonsense, he said. I mean, this is not even something you could make an issue of. This not is factual. But he's saying like Nigel's knowledge was limited, right? And then he says, oh, Mr. Hughes would know. Mr. Hughes represents criminals. Mr. Hughes represents criminals. I think you forget one of them. Mr. Hughes represented. I think you forget one of them. The one who came number 6 in their elections, beating Mr. Nandalai. And the same election that Mr. Jagyo want everybody to believe that Eford Ali beat him. And if people are so gullible to believe that, including the president, there's something wrong with them. Right? Yeah. And you see, they're always talking about dishonesty and this rigging of the election and thing. I think Mr. Jagyo going back again to talk about Mr. Boredom. Mr. Boredom dead long, oh God. But he got to go back and talk about Mr. Boredom. You know, and I'm going to share something with you from years ago. Let us begin to answer the question of the PPP and its commitment to democracy by defining the context of our political system. Democracy cannot be confined to electoral politics. It must be, if it is to be effective, must be a philosophy which pervades all the institutions of government, including the political parties. Every Guyanese knows that the PPP seeks to control all of the institutions of the state so that they can bend them to their will. As a party democracy, the PPP is known for rigging internal elections in order to get what they want or expel those who advocate democratic practices in the party. The former leader of the AFC, Mr. Kemraj Ramjatan, was expelled simply because he advocated for the removal of the Marxist-Leninist clause of the PPP constitution. Of course, the locus classicus of PPP rigging occurred in 1961. Though far removed from in time, this event encapsulates the methodology of the PPP. Dr. Jagan and other leaders of the PPP did not want Balram Singh Rai elected to the position of General Secretary because he was opposed to PPP policy in several areas. Their preference was Brindley Ben, a true believer at the time. The election was shamelessly rigged, and this was Singh's evaluation of what occurred.
Those are historical facts that cannot be.
This is what Balram Singh Rai said. He says, truly, Dr. Jagan and other leaders of the PPP should hang their heads in shame. No longer should they speak of democracy. No longer should they complain of unfair elections or gerrymandered constituencies. And that is quoted in Beturam Ramarak Against the Grain. Right? So and these are facts. And these are known facts. I mean, there's no issue about that. If you only believe in electoral democracy because their main constituency is from the Indian community. They're not principled adherents to the concept. The PPP should therefore surely call for democracy in Guyana, but support the crushing of the democratic movement in Czechoslovakia in 1968. I told you, David, I'm a student of history. I'm a student of history, and these facts can't change. They can't change it. Nevertheless, even with this, the PPP is known to tamper with the electoral system to ensure victory. And then I have a statement from the Commonwealth Observatory, but I don't want to get into the 1997 elections. Everybody knows what happened then. Everybody knows the Esther Pereira petition, right? Everybody knows about that, you know, and that with Janet Jagan and they throwing it over her shoulder and all those things and so on. I mean, oh my God, nobody could have imagined that something like that would have happened. And 3 years after, the judge ruled.
Yeah, that's right.
The judge, as you may know, is now the chairman of CHICO.
He's now the chairman of the Elections Commission.
Yep.
And who is
a very, very interesting society.
Yeah.
Very interesting society. Yeah. Very interesting. I mean, they have genuine people like you that if I would hear certain things, right there, I would say, no, that's not true. They got people you could have faith in, but they got others, you got to be very careful.
Yeah. You
got to be very, very careful. You know, but of course, you're hearing us get in a place of stories, right? And you know, my pet peeve always, David, is all this talk and talk and talk and talk. But nobody talking about the chancellor and the chief justice still acting.
Acting, yeah.
Nobody. You're making 6 deputy commissioners. 6 deputy commissioners. You have these young ladies acting for what? For what? Some of them may say, oh, some people might say, oh, we don't like the decisions of one of them. But if you look at all the decisions, they might think differently. They might think differently. But the fact of the matter is that, years ago, Mr. Nandalal boasted that we're the only country in the world, I think, other than Pakistan, who has this system where there have to be agreement between the president and the opposition leader, and so. Then last year, I think he said, it can't work.
It can't work.
But what are they going to do? But in the meantime, it can't work. It cannot work, right? But you're not doing anything.
Anything.
So
and the opposition leader said that he's ready to confirm the two ladies.
Right, but the president said that is not how it is done.
That's right. That's right.
He said that's not how it is done. But if he knows how it is done, let him do it.
Then do it.
If he has other people who he wants to put in, let him put up other people. But you're not putting up anybody else. You're not saying anything. But you have these two ladies there, right? And they've been acting since 2017. Since 2017.
Dawn Holder Cush here tonight. We're talking about corruption. We're talking about the stinking record of this government that presents itself as a democratic government when it is anything else but democratic. Dawn, is there anything you want to comment on that I didn't ask you about?
The Guyanese critic, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm not sure. It clearly seems again no longer has a sensible, right? So somebody could go on social media and say the most vulgar of things about somebody. Somebody who's barred from the court about speaking about parties in a matter, who continues to speak about them, who was lashed out at the judge in the matter, who's a newly appointed judge. I mean, something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think some little thing may have happened, because the last few days he's saying he's considering running for president. And that scares me, because there are people who are actually saying, yes, that would be a good idea. We would love to have you as the president. And I guess that is the so-called concept of democracy. Right? Who wins the most votes wins.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they were influenced by anything else, so be it. And that's why I wish we would go to the system like Barbados and so, where we have constituencies. And the best person for the constituency will win. And they got to work hard to get it.
Yeah.
Right? There was a man in Barbados called Hamilton Lashley. He was a member of both parties. And then he became an independent. He never ever lost his seat in, I'm going to name the area. But he never ever lost his seat, no matter which party was, because he worked so hard in the community. As an independent, he could win his seat. Right? And Barbados is, and Jamaica knowledge is all about the constituencies. What we have here, we have X amount of seats, and the leader of the list can say, oh, these are people going to parliament. No. Let the people earn their election. Let them go into the communities and work. And you have a proper system there. Of course, that's assuming that they ain't got no rigging and all of that. Because even that system there, you could have rigging. You could have rigging in any system. But if you have a fair system like that, or if you have a fair system as we have it now, then I guess we could live with the outcome. Right? But I mean, I think this government has really, I mean, I was one person when this government came into power. Of course, before I was terminated, I was prepared to give them a fair chance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But before I could even give them a fair chance, they do me wrong. They knock me off.
Knock you off, yeah.
So when they're going to knock me off, they expect me to do sit at home and cry? No, I have to talk. I have to share my story. Particularly with people overseas who are shocked when I tell them what transpired.
Mm-hmm.
They can't understand why a professional will be terminated like that. They can't, it just makes no sense to people. But this is like the Wild West, you know? You decide to come in a village, shoot up everybody who survives. And
Yeah.
I actually feel very sorry for the president. Um, I am not sure how much control he has. I hope that I am wrong by saying that, right? But it seems that somebody else is running the show. And everybody knows who that person is. He
That's right.
running the show. He gonna cut out everybody on a Thursday. It moved from Royfield Ford, Dorwin Bess, Arby Norton. No, Nigel Hughes. Now that one shake him up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one shook him up. Right? So Nigel Hughes get cost for money. I said, but what is wrong with this man? What kind of behavior is that? First of all, how is it the vice president hosting his press conference at Freedom House?
Freedom House. Speaking about government business at Freedom House.
Freedom House. And the president I don't know how many press conferences the president had. So I don't know if the president is given the role of public relations or press conferences to the vice president. I imagine once the Guyanese critic was like the moderator. He took over from Kwame McCoy. He's asking the questions. He's suggesting that Glenn should be charged for murder how much years ago. No sense of decorum, no sense of anything. It's like the Wild West, you know? I remember long ago, Gordon Mosey was banned from attending press conferences by Bar Jagger when he was the president. Right? So when you want to ban the press, it means you got something you don't want the press to hear. Or you're afraid they're going to ask you questions you can't answer. Right? And sometimes I'm a little disappointed with our journalists because yesterday press conference I thought would be really hot. It was going on with the police.
Right.
You know, but I guess time will tell. This is the matter. The issue with the police is not going away. It is not going away. No matter how they try, it will not go away. Heads will have to roll and people have to answer. Because somebody, as somebody said, will have to come in and there needs to be some investigation. Right? We can't be the laughing stock of the Caribbean and the world with all these things happening and we pretending like nothing is happening. And one of the men with the allegations are made him decide, I am going to leave. I'm going to leave so y'all could investigate me.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is done.
Dawn, thank you so much for coming through tonight and helping us make sense of the corruption.
Always a pleasure to be here.
And certainly we know that we'll have you back soon. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy the Emancipation Week that is coming up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The day before you go, I wanted to ask you what are your views on the England versus West Indies?
Well, it's in the balance there today. We had a good day, but you know, West Indies, you know, in order to win a cricket match, you have to be consistent, you know. We had a good day today. I think the score, we could have added another 50 or so, but we came back with 3 quick wickets. And I hope the intensity continues tomorrow. That is all we can hope for, you know.
I hope so too.
Yeah. I just hope.
Unfortunately, we got a little distraction. At least for me, all eyes on the Olympics for me. And
right. And
I wish Guyana all the best. And David, thank you again. And I will see you at the what you call it? What's the name of the event?
Black is Beautiful.
Black is Beautiful.
Yes,
Black is Beautiful.
Where
is it being held?
At the line top. At the line top. The Buxton line top.
I don't know. Where's the line top? What do you mean?
The embankment, the embankment road that used to be the train line. So
I can come up the embankment road?
Right, yes. They usually close off the thing on that night. And
okay. I will be there.
All right.
Take care. Be safe. Right. Okay, bye-bye.
Dawn Holder Cush coming in tonight and weighing in. And I would like to thank you all for staying with us another night, another week. Please make your contribution to our fund, Politics 101 Emancipation Fund. Information is there on the screen. It is Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, MNG. Please make a contribution, however small, however large, because it will go a long way towards helping a couple of communities to have a successful emancipation observances. So I'll see you all on Monday night. And for those of you who are into cricket, we shall see you all. We shall see you all on Sunday night. Here's hoping that on Sunday night, our conversation would be very positive, if the West Indies were to play good cricket tomorrow and take us into Sunday. Thank you all much. Thank you all much.